So I accidentally realized I've been playing Monster Hunter for nearly 10 years now, and I'm still pretty shit at it. But in today's video, I kind of want to just go through my experiences, my progression, and overall my appreciation for what is probably my favorite game series of all time. So obviously, everyone that plays Monster Hunter has the game that gets them into the series. And for me, that was Monster Hunter Rise. But it wasn't actually the first Monster Hunter I played. You see, a couple of years ago, after I'd gotten into the series, I had to give away my old Wii U that we had, and I actually realized that we had an old Monster Hunter game. It was Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and I do actually remember playing this game a bit. However, the main reason I remember it is because I was so utterly confused and just perplexed at what was happening. I didn't know how the progression system worked, like the core fundamental Monster Hunter progression system worked. I was just going around trying to kill monsters, dealing with the shit UI at the time, and I had no YouTube as well. So that was actually my first Monster Hunter experience, probably in 2016 or 2017, I remember. And obviously I did not like the series and didn't play it that much. The next time then I actually played Monster Hunter, but still hadn't got into it, was playing Monster Hunter World on the PS4. I think this might have been before Iceborne still, so maybe 2018, 2019-ish. I'm not 100% sure. But again, it was the same feeling of just confusion, and this time, instead of being confused on what to do, I was more a bit perplexed about the game's control system, and it still felt a bit slow and clunky to me. And also the fact that I didn't find a weapon that I really liked yet, which I did later on. So anyway, after playing World and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, obviously I didn't really like the series. And until eventually, in about 2021, I got into Monster Hunter Rise on the Nintendo Switch. And that was actually the first kind of game that I was like, damn, this is actually good Monster Hunter. And I most likely attribute it to probably the faster and more flashy combat system that the game has compared to the old gen titles, but also because, yeah, actually no, never mind, that's actually mainly it. But overall, I actually really enjoyed the Monster Hunter Rise, and I think I started playing it just as Sunbreak was being released, so then I got to experience going into that expansion for the first time, which was honestly a really fun experience. I remember not having any spoilers towards the final story boss as well. And I basically also found my first real main weapon in Monster Hunter, which was the Charge Blade. The concept that you could morph between the sword and shield and the giant axe was so cool to me, and also the massive dopamine hits you get from hitting SAEDs and axe upper, which is undeniably one of the best things in the game. It was so cool. So that's how I found one of my main weapons, and also one of the reasons that I stayed with Monster Hunter Rise. So obviously Rise and Sunbreak is the main game that got me into the series, and after that I played through most of it, and I actually was gifted Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, also on Nintendo Switch, by an uncle of mine. And this was kind of my first experience at old gen Monster Hunter, even though it's probably the least old gen of them all. But I actually really like Monster Hunter Generation Ultimate. It's got like that classic Monster Hunter like style where it's kind of goofy, but it's still a bit like serious about hunting all the monsters. And also the fact that they had all the different styles, which I thought was a really interesting idea, and reminded me obviously of Monster Hunter Rise's switch skills, which I really enjoyed because it allowed me to kind of play Charge Blade in multiple different ways. And again, I mainly stuck with Charge Blade, and also particularly Aerial Charge Blade, which you've probably seen me play in a couple of videos, as that is again like my favorite style to play in Monster Hunter GU. And finally, I did hop back to World to try it again, this time knowing how to play Monster Hunter, and I kind of enjoyed it a bit more and got up to, I think, decent way through the Iceborne story. But again, World never really clicked for me, I feel. I think the way I like Monster Hunter, I like the combat and the progression of hunting monsters and making all the cool weapons and armors over kind of that more realistic ecosystem feel that World has. So that's probably why I didn't enjoy it as much. But anyways, one of the actual main things that, when reflecting on my early periods of playing Monster Hunter, was the fact that I didn't really like any other weapons. I tried a couple of them in Rise and also Monster Hunter GU, like Greatsword and Longsword, and also a bit of Switch Axe, as that's like the most similar, I'd say, to Charge Blade. But I never really got them as much as Charge Blade, and still Charge Blade was my favorite for a while. So I didn't really play any other weapons. That's the main thing. And up until about 2025, I didn't really play much Monster Hunter after I finished Rise, as I just wasn't as interested series. But then, with Wilds releasing, that was like the main thing that got me back into Monster Hunter. It honestly is probably like one of the best games in terms of just, and also the best base game, I would say, actually, not including any expansions. Just because obviously, you know, like the quality of life, obviously all the monsters are great. The combat is definitely really good. It's kind of like an in-between of Rise and Monster Hunter World for me. It's not too fast, but not too slow either, which is like a really nice mix for me. And also the fashion's pretty sick. Like being able to equip male and female armor on is probably one of the best things, as I've always liked the male fashion, but never played as a male in the other games. And obviously, besides all the PC performance things, I'm not going to touch on that. Everyone else is ready. The main thing that Wilds did for me is it got me to play other weapons. Because of how like accessible everything felt, all the weapons just felt actually really good to play. And that kind of got me to try them out more. Like I tried a lot more greatsword, switch axe as well, a bit of hammer and stuff. I even tried the bowgun. Like that's literally the one weapon I would never touch before, because I think bowgun's kind of like it's a bit like I have a giant sword I could swing at the monster, or I could shoot them with a gun. Like I'm gonna choose the giant sword. But the whole point is that I basically tried all the other weapons out in Monster Hunter Wilds for kind of like really the first time, and actually gave them more of a go. And because of that, when I've gone back to other games now, because I'm playing them on PC, I've been trying out all the other weapons as well, besides just Charge Blade. So mainly in Rise, I've been playing a lot of Longsword as well, because it now actually makes sense to play for some reason after playing Wilds. I could just never play it before, because I was just shit. But now, it just feels a lot better to play. And then I did try a bit of Hammer and Greatsword in Monster Hunter GU again. And a bit of World as well. But yeah, so after Wilds, I did play a bit of Monster Hunter Stories 3. I'm still playing through that still, but the story series are nice. I've also played Monster Hunter Stories 2. And it's kind of just more of like a chill, like fan service series, I feel. Like it's kind of sick to be like, oh shit, that's the monster I fucking like. And then you can pair them up and just go kill some other things. It's pretty nice. So in terms of my actual playtime, I don't really know how much you can consider like hours to be a lot of in video games. But anyway, and I haven't even finished most of these Monster Hunter games. Like that's insane. So I have about 200 plus hours of Monster Hunter Wilds base game, about 200 hours in Rise and Sunbreak, about 80 hours in Monster Hunter GU, about 50 hours on the PS4 version of Monster Hunter World, but I don't have an image, and also a couple hours in the stories games, and also probably like a couple hours, maybe like 30 across the PC versions of Monster Hunter Rise and World, which I'm playing through now. And yeah, so a lot of these hours are probably even like just pure gameplay. Like I've probably been mucking around. If you know, I did some photography stuff for Monster Hunter Wilds as well. That's probably why the playtime is so high. Lol. But yeah, that's basically my experience of Monster Hunter over the last 10 years. It's not really been 10 years. I've only really gotten it into the last like 2 years, but the fact that the series has been around with me for that long is kind of insane. Like, only other series that I can think of that I've had exposure to for that long would be like, I don't know, maybe like Minecraft and Terraria and stuff like that. Like, I have not really played many series or games that have just lasted a long time. So going forward, I'm mainly looking forward to Monster Hunter Outlanders on mobile, which will be very interesting because obviously it's a gacha game. I do like gacha games, but seeing Monster Hunter as a mobile game will be pretty cool. And hopefully it's better than Monster Hunter Now, which I don't really like. And then obviously the one after that is the Wilds expansion, which I'll be excited for that. And then overall on this channel, I do want to still kind of make just random talking videos and have some random stories and shit that I'll talk about. Like, I had just finished my first semester of uni, and I kind of have some funny stories I want to tell from that. And also, I do want to make some Monster Hunter videos every now and then, because Monster Hunter content is kind of shit on YouTube, I feel. Like, it's not as good as some other content, I feel. So, I'm just going to try and change things up and just muck around and see what happens, you know? But yeah, so let me know what your experiences have been with Monster Hunter or maybe other video games. And yeah, see you guys soon.